It is that time of year. Maybe you're sniffling and sneezing or just so plugged up you can't breathe.
Yeah, if you're taking decongestants and don't feel like they're working, you may be right, because today an FDA panel called a popular ingredient in these medicines ineffective.
But they're not the only option. KCTV 5's Betsy Webster talked to a local doctor about what to look for at the pharmacy.
A lot of people refer to it by the brand name Sudafed. There are two kinds. They look similar, but this one here, that's the original. It's effective, but it can be harder to get. This one, Sudafed PE, that's the one that you can get straight off the counter at the pharmacy. This is the kind that might be discontinued because the FDA panel says it's no more effective than a placebo. We are still in allergy season with ragweed wreaking havoc. Then comes cold season. What do you reach for? Well, first, make sure it's not an antihistamine you need instead. That's for a runny nose or postnasal drip.
Decongestants are simply for nasal congestion where your nose is plugged up and you can't get air in and out.
Then we get to what's available. The stuff on the shelves like Theraflu and Dayquil use phenylephrine. That's what the FDA panel says is ineffective. It sometimes uses the letters PE. Pseudoephedrine is the gold standard, the classic Sudafed, but people started using it to make meth. So the government now requires you get it at the pharmacy counter and sign for it. It works, but it can get your heart racing and raise your blood pressure.
So you have to be careful with it, but if used appropriately in a proper dosage, it's generally a pretty effective medication for nasal congestion.
Dr. Todd Fristo, a family medicine doctor at St. Luke's Primary Care Independent, says it is not recommended for kids under 12.
But we would recommend like a nasal saline spray if your child will tolerate that. That tends to help shrink the mucous membranes down a little bit and help that stuff kind of flush out of there.
There are no drugs in saline spray. Same with Vicks, which you can inhale from a vial or with the jelly under the nose. Then there are cortisone sprays, which take longer to work and should be used only short-term for kids under 12. Now, the panel's recommendation is not binding, so the FDA doesn't have to order these things off of pharmacy shelves. And if they do, they made it clear that it's not because they believe this ingredient is unsafe. It's just because they don't want people to pay for something that pretty much does nothing. In Mission, Kansas, Betsy Webster, KCTV 5 News.